Hello and welcome back to another episode on the Ambassador Sports Network. I'm Dalito Kulameka.
And I'm Shane Dunkley. And I hope that all of y'all enjoyed your spring break over this past week, but not too much, of course. Dalit, so how was your spring break, man?
My spring break was good, man. You know, I got a chance to go home and then go home to, Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Ohio, O-H-I-O.
Heard that.
And then I went down to New Orleans for some Mardi Gras festivities. How about you, man?
It was good, man. I also went home for half the week, got to see the family. My dog, of course, missed her, and I got to eat some good food, but now I'm back here. But let me ask you this real quick, right? So you went to New Orleans. Mm-hmm. Did you vandalize the Superdome for me? Like, come on, man.
I did not vandalize the Superdome. I don't endorse any type of criminal activity.
That's not criminal activity. That's justice being served.
I understand your Falcons got some tough times over there.
We got some winning times over there.
But no, I did not vandalize Superdome. Right. Beautiful stadium.
It's always next time.
Beautiful city. Beautiful city. But on today's episode, we'll be introducing a new segment with ASN reporter Cailyn Sterling.
We'll also be looking with how the softball and the baseball team have fared so far this season, and we'll be giving our biggest surprises for the NBA so far this season.
You ready, brother?
Yes, sir. Let's get into it.
So now we will go on the ground to ASN reporter Cailyn Sterling to hear what happened over the break.
Hi, I'm Cailyn Sterling, and welcome to Cailyn's Corner with Ambassador Sports Network. Let's get into the latest of the Ambassadors over spring break. Men's basketball lost their first conference game to Talladega College, finishing the season 4-25. Women's basketball also lost to Talladega, ending the season 10-15. On a positive note, senior Jordan Bell was named to the HBCU All-Conference second team. Freshman Sanaya Keys had an amazing season, earning Player of the Year, HBCU All-Conference First Team, Defensive Team, and Freshman of the Year honors. Softball kicked off spring break with a 6-1 win against Bethel University, but finished the break 1-6. Baseball is in a slump, but getting closer to a breakthrough, going 0-5 over the break. Let's keep supporting our teams. Thank you for listening. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Cailyn. So look, Shane, as you heard over the break, things for softball started off good, but they didn't end too well. And I think that's just a microcosm of how the season has gone so far. So look, Shane, coming into the year, the softball team was a team with 3 players named all preseason HBCU Athletic Conference first team. Preseason pitcher of the year, and they were picked to finish second in the conference in only the third year of the program. But coming out of the spring break, the team is sitting at 1-12. What can the softball team do to turn this season around?
Well, Dalit, so I wouldn't call this an easy fix in the slightest. As we know, softball, baseball, hardest sports in the world, right? So it's definitely not an easy fix, but I didn't say it was impossible. Like you said, or I don't know if you mentioned, but we have the top 3 players in the conference all on one team.
Yes.
That has to mean something.
Has to.
Right? And when you address the 1-12 start, let me tell you about the 2019 Nationals. Let me give you a little history lesson, right? 2019 Nationals were 19-31 at one point of the season.
Okay.
Right? People were thinking, oh, this is a lottery team. This is a team that's going to compete for a top 5 draft pick.
Yeah, it was over.
Turns out, you want to know what happened in October?
What happened?
They won the World Series, right? They went on a run and won the World Series. Baseball or softball is a sport of runs, and I believe that the Lady Ambassadors, with the top 3 players in the some of the top 3 players in the conference on the same team, I think they can make a run.
And I would have to agree. And look, this is not a lost season at all. When you go into conference game, because that's what matters in terms of how they were picked to finish second in the conference. They could go 10-30. And if they went 10-0 in conference play, they'll be number 1 in the conference, depending on where the other teams are going. So let's take a look at our conference game. They played 3 conference games so far over the break. Against Dillard University, 3 games in a 2-day span. They lost the first one 4-1, lost the second game 18-2, and lost the third game 4-1. Now, you have to look at that 18-2 game as an outlier game. They let up so many hits, and you have to wonder why. When you look, the senior pitcher, Sydney Arnett, she did not play in that game. It was 2 freshmen rotating, and they're still young. They're still learning. They're still new to the college game. And Dillard is a middling team at 6-7 on the year. And you look at those 4-1 games, the 2 games outside of the 18-2 game, and Oakwood kept it close. So this shows Oakwood is not too far from an average team, at least in the conference. Oakwood is not 1-12 bad.
Yeah.
When you look at new freshmen on the team, Jayla Hawkins, she's leading the team in a bunch of major hitting categories. She leads the team with a .361 batting average, 13 hits, and is tied with Tony Sims for the lead in home runs. Jordan Howard, another freshman, is second with a .360 batting average, and Tony Sims is fourth with a .281 batting average, and they each have 11 and 9 hits respectively. Those 3 freshmen right there are all top 5 in RBIs. These are freshmen coming in and instantly contributing.
Right.
They're instantly making an impact. Then you look at veterans, Kaylee Fuller with a .400 batting average, Mackenzie Smith with a .458 batting average. They just haven't played 12 games to cross that minimum game threshold. Those 2 players right there, they just have to play more games, build on this individual success, and that's going to lead to team success. Like you said, the talent's clearly there. This team is not 1-12 bad. We've seen it with our own eyes. When they don't let up a bunch of hits, and their pitchers are pitching, and the bunt coverage and the covering, and the outfielders are all playing in sync. This is a team like we saw against Bethel University with a 6-1 win. This is a team that can do something. They've only played 3 conference games. So they still had this not a lost season.
Yeah, Dudley. So from what all those stats are telling me, this team is exceptional in hitting. And those guys that were giving out the predictions at the beginning of the season saying we were the second best team in the conference, they might not be lying.
They're not.
Now, I know the stats or the win column isn't backing that up just yet, but the stats don't lie. We have a good hitting team. And if we could just get those routine plays down, like the ground outs, the pop-up flies, if we get that down, I think we could really make some noise later on in the season.
And look, they got a chance to correct that 0-3 conference record right now with upcoming conference games versus Talladega College. There's still plenty of time to turn the season around.
Of course.
There's a doubleheader this Sunday, March 16th at 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. And the third game will be on Monday, March 17th at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. All 3 games versus Talladega. So this is enough time for the softball team to turn things around and get things headed in the right direction and get back to that championship aspirations that the conference picked them to finish second in.
Definitely.
So now let's transition over to baseball. Look, it's only the 3rd year of the program.
Yep.
We can't be too hasty.
Yep.
Each season is not a lost cause. It doesn't have to be championship or bust. If you don't win the championship, depending on where you're at, we're in the midst of a rebuild. We're in the midst of not even a rebuild. We're in the midst of creating something. Of the start.
Startup.
So we can't look at the baseball team and if they're not championship contenders, winning every single game, it's a failure. No. This is a first-year head coach. Freshman pitchers. More than half of the roster is first-year players or transfers. The team has only won 2 games in the past 2 years. First-year head coach Jalil Rudolph is trying to create a culture and a team identity, and those things take time. So, Shane, how can the baseball team begin to turn things around this season?
Let me tell you this, Dalit. So let me just harp on the point you were making. This team just started
3 years
their
ago.
program 3 years ago. You know how hard it is to start a sports program at a university with limited resources
yeah.
and stuff like that. That's hard stuff. So let's cut the slack for these guys. These guys are doing the best they can, and eventually this is going to turn into productivity. But how can they turn that into a good thing, right? You have to go back to what I was saying about the softball team. Routine plays. When me, you, and the ASN team went down to watch the baseball team in person, a lot of what I saw from the ground was a lot of errors. Simple plays. I mean, simpler said than done. You tried throwing a baseball 100 miles an hour at first base with a guy streaking the first. That's simple to.
That's why I report.
About,
That's why I report.
Exactly, but just plays like that can just put the game away easily, right? Getting a ground ball, throwing it to first, or calling for a pop-up fly, right?
Those plays got to be layups.
Exactly. Once we get that down, I think we'll be in business because when you look at the hitting, similar to the softball team, we have some hitters on this baseball team.
Look, 4 players on this team have a batting average above .300, and that's considered good. That's considered average. Jordan Jennings, .360 batting average.
Yep.
Derek Sanders with a .313 batting average. Jaden Rawling with a .310 batting average. Trayvon Jones with a .500 batting average.
What about Junior Jeremy Matos?
Jeremy Matos, he has a .28 batting average, 281 batting average. He's right there. Joshua Mack, a .294 batting average. Trayvon Jones, he has a .500 batting average only in 6 games. So once he plays some more, the sky's the limit. Look, this team can hit. The only thing is, they got to play a complete game.
Exactly.
12 out of the 18 games, the other teams have scored 10-plus points. They cannot let the game get into shootouts. Against Florida National University, 16-15 loss. Russ College, 22-15 loss. Southern University of New Orleans, a 16-16 loss. They cannot give up those many runs. And that just goes back to freshman pitchers who are still learning the college game at this level. This team is still building, and the program is fairly new and is undergoing some expected growing pains. So when I'm looking at this, I can't compare it to anything else other than Oakland men's basketball. The basketball team leagued up after winning a championship a few years back, and they struggled. From 2021 to 2024, the basketball team only won 10 games, including 1 win in the 2023-2024 season. This season started off poorly, and the team could have thrown in the towel, could have given up, and quite frankly, imploded. But after winter break, we saw the team begin to put things together, began to figure it out, and they went 3-6 in their last 9 games. And that's the best stretch we've had over the past 4 years. So now there's hope going into next season for the basketball team, and I believe the baseball team suffers a similar fate.
And not suffers, but you know, well, yeah, let's say suffers. But Dalit, so I'm gonna say this again: baseball is a game of runs. Baseball, like I said before, is the hardest sport to play in sports. You know, you trying to hit a baseball, you know, coming at you at 100 miles an hour.
It's not something the average person can
do.
You know,
let alone 50 miles an hour, right? You know, so it's hard, right? But like I said before, though, baseball is a game of runs. You know, so if we just get 1 win, you know, 2 wins, 3 wins, before we know it, we could be like what 9-20.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's all about building momentum, and it's all about you get 1 win. Now we're stacking on that. Exactly. It's always the hardest to do the first thing.
Right.
It's always hard. Look, Rome wasn't built in a day, but brick by brick by brick by brick. And now Rome, look at it now.
And I'll tell you this, the 2021 Atlanta Braves weren't built in a day.
They weren't.
But Alex AAA, our general manager, you know, back in 2016, he saw a vision. He got up Ronald Acuna, drafted Freddie Freeman in 2011 or 2010, got Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, you know, and 10 years later, we were world champions.
And that's what I'm saying. And look, next game for the baseball team is this Tuesday, March 18th at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time versus Alabama A&M. And the next 5 games is some conference play games. Those are big. We need those. They need those. 2 versus Talladega College and 3 versus Wilberforce University. Out of these next 6 games, I believe they can win 2.
Oh, yeah.
Even 3. And then the sky's the limit. Then they begin to stack some. They begin to get some confidence. And well, you'll see. It's not going to be the same baseball team come the end of the year.
And let me tell you this. I'm talking to you, Oakwood University students. We need y'all to come out and support the guys on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Don't let us be swamped out by them A&M fans. You know, we don't need none of that, right?
We don't need none of
that. Come out.
Right here
in
Huntsville.
Let's make it a Oakwood home game in A&M, them agriculture folk over there. Let's make it a...
Yeah, man. You know them Bulldogs. They get feisty. But you know, the one thing I know... Ambassadors, we rise up.
That's
we rise up.
Nah, man. Battle Memorial Tuesday at 1 o'clock push up. And that leads us into our basketball segment, NBA segment, on really our biggest surprises for the season.
As the season begins to wrap up, let's get into it.
Yes, sir. Surprise, man.
You know, we have a big sample size of games to take from, and sorry, I don't see any other bigger surprise than hometown Cavs, man. Cleveland Cavaliers, 55-10, best record in the NBA. No one expected that going into the year. Look, we have a new head coach, Kenny Atkinson. What did he come in and do? Coach of the year. They should change the name of the award for this year. Look, the Cavs have the highest offensive rating in the league at 121.8. Look, we added DeAndre Hunter from the Hawks mid-season trade right at the deadline from your Hawks. He's averaging 18 points per game. Reunited him with college teammate Ty Jerome. They won a championship together at Virginia, and they're hooping together off that bench unit for the Cavs. So a championship in Cleveland? I don't know. This is the best Cavs team I've seen personally since LeBron James. Since that 2016 Cavs team that won the finals. This is the best Cavs team
Better
then.
than the 2018 team?
This Cavs team is better than that 2018
That 2018 team is sweeping this team.
This Cavs team is better than that 2018
Back to your point.
Look, Evan Mobley has taken the jump.
Goodness.
15.7 points per game to 18
You're not beating
points per
LeBron
game.
James.
Listen. Evan Mobley's shooting more threes. Donovan Mitchell, his scoring has dipped a little bit, but he can turn it on whenever he wants to. Darius Garland is shooting a career-high 41% from three. This team had 3 All-Stars, and Donovan Mitchell was their first-team All-NBA lock. No one the Cavs have potential to win 70 games. They're on a 15-game win streak. They've had 3 win streaks this year of 10-plus games. This Cavs team is going to be scary, and this is the biggest surprise of the season. And don't be surprised if they win the finals.
Yeah, you got me shivering up in here.
I'm not picking them to win the finals. I'll save that for later, but don't be surprised. But if they win 70 games, watch out.
Watch Jonathan.
Who do you have, Jonathan?
Who's your biggest surprise?
I got no other option but to go to the Detroit Pistons.
That's
Last year they went 14 and 64. So this year they're at the 6th seed, 37-30, and we got Cade Cunningham hooping for them. And they also have a good supporting cast: Malik Beasley, Jaden Dunn. It's a complete turnaround for the team. So it's like I can't choose anybody else other than the Detroit Pistons. Nobody would have thought the Detroit Pistons would be coming out like this. And we're going to see if they can do something crazy in the playoffs, be able to win a series, and hopefully get down the stretch. I want to see some Detroit Pistons get right.
Might knock out them Cavs.
Okay, let's stop.
But
you know who they have real quick?
Yeah.
JB Bickerstaff, old Cleveland Cavaliers coach. We fired him because we had reached
have
our
JB
ceiling with him.
Bickerstaff, bro.
JB Bickerstaff, if it wasn't for Kenny Atkinson, he'd be coach of the year. He done a great job with the Pistons. I can't be mad at that.
Well, that's not a bad pick. Usually, I said before I was going to go with the Grizzlies, but I think I'm going to slide back with the Thunder, man. It's just like, if I'm going by your logic, the Thunder are one of the most impressive turnarounds. Not really a turnaround, but just team of this year, right? You know, they're 1 game behind the Cavs for the best record in the NBA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, MVP. I think Chet Holmgren's injured, but, you know, when he's on the team, he's a problem. Harkenstein, a problem. You know, Williams, a problem. You know, they just got guys stacked across the board. Their biggest issue is whether they're gonna be experienced enough in the playoffs to really make an impact. But I can't leave this topic, man, without addressing the Cavs. It really hurts my soul, and I'm sorry. I know I was saying 2015 Hawks earlier, but come on, you got to look at the stats real quick. Look at this, right? The Brooklyn Nets, one of the worst teams in the NBA, man.
Donovan Mitchell.
They blew like a 20-point lead. Donovan Mitchell sucks, bro. Come on, it doesn't matter. The Charlotte Hornets, the worst team in the NBA. Y'all had to come from behind and beat them, bro.
Any given night, a team can play up to
the Portland Trailblazers. I haven't heard that name in about 5 years since Dame left.
The Portland Trailblazers are a competitive team.
I don't see this team sniffing the NBA Finals, let alone the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm dead serious. I'm not trying to do anything that's trying to hype up anything. Look, I'm dead serious.
Look, 2-2 versus Celtics. Best team in the East.
The Celtics are sweeping y'all, though.
2-2 versus Celtics.
But that's the regular season. No one cares about the regular season.
That's what they say
the
until
Celtics
it translates into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Best Cavs team since 2016. Just watch out.
Oh, good for you.
Watch out for us. Watch out for us in the playoffs. Watch out for them
Detroit
in the playoffs.
Pistons. Now, the Pistons might knock out the Cavs. Who knows? In the second round. We'll see. I can see a Pacers run out of them. So
Time will tell.
We'll see. But thank y'all again for joining us for this episode. We're glad we can be back with y'all after spring break. Stay tuned in for our March Madness, our special March Madness segment dropping next week. We hope y'all have a blessed weekend, a safe weekend.
Thank you for watching the Ambassador Sports Network. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and tap that bell so you're notified every time we post.